Hello everyone, my name is Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have a very special guest with me today, and she's Donna. So she turned half of her backyard into gardening, and last year she harvested about 600 pounds of vegetables, and she donated it about 75% of her vegetables to local charity, gave them to friends, family, neighbors. So she has a very, very kind heart. And today she's going to show us her garden, and we are going to harvest some vegetables together. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm so happy to have you.
It's good to see you again.
Let's show us your garden.
Okay.
Should we go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you ready, Donna?
I am.
So why are you bringing so much items with you when you go harvest? I usually just have a scissors and a container with me. Tell us about that.
Well, actually, I use these totes and I put in them a couple colanders, and that's for example like your tender fruits, your blackberries. You don't want them to get squished by some tomatoes and so forth. I have clips if I have a plant that's falling over. Dollar store, 6, perfect buy. Some twine, a shovel, scissors, snippers, and then some spray that I use, which is called Soil Diva, and it's excellent for to foliate the plants. It actually increases the beneficial dirt and the microbes and whatnot in the soil.
Wow, I never thought about that.
Okay, you'll always find in my garden pollinator plants. This is a milkweed that's here for those beautiful monarchs, but you will always find them in my garden. I think it's very important. Right here I have a bed that is solely for swallowtail butterflies. I had a lot of them last year. This is their food. This is where they'll lay their eggs. This is only for them, and if it gets to seed before they get here, I'll replant. Everything I grow is from seed, by the way.
So when did you start everything from seed?
A lot of stuff was started in January, February. I used a greenhouse, but I started thousands of seeds.
Okay.
Yeah. Some herbs, typical herbs, lavender, rosemary, but also love them.
So I also want to invest it in a greenhouse, but sounds very expensive. How? No?
It's not. I haven't completed the lining of the outside of mine over there on my deck, but I built that for $43. And it has been $43. It has been absolutely amazing. It's you can utilize repurposed wood, and really it's basically just buying the plastic.
Did you keep your greenhouse indoor or outdoor?
It's outdoor. It's built on my deck. It is not going anywhere. It's actually
outdoor, even in January.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. This is something pretty interesting. I don't know if a lot of people have seen these. These are called Egyptian walking onions, and why they're called that is because the seeds that are on the top, actually at some point the onions will fall over, the seed will fall into the ground and grow another plant. So they're perennial onions. They're wonderful.
Are they edible?
Absolutely. Yes. The bulb is edible, as well as the stem, which I dehydrate. So if you pull the plant out, you'll see it. There's actually onion bulb at the end. It's a regular onion. This can be used as a green onion, and you have your seeds that are all ready for next year.
So Donna, you said that all of the vegetables, flowers in your garden are organic.
Absolutely.
How do you keep that organic? It's very hard.
It is very hard, but I myself need to eat organic for health reasons, and that's really what pushed me into the growing organically. And it has been a change. It's been a lot of work, but I spend a couple hours out here a day, and I benefit on the other end by providing others with organic that they can't typically access or afford, as well as myself. And I've got some oreganos.
Oh, so
I try to do companion planting.
What is this one?
That is a grapevine. It's a Concord grapes. They actually are looking wonderful. However, there's a second one here that I've pulled down. The reason they're wrapped is because of the Japanese beetles. That is their main food. They love them. They will devour the leaves, and I'm not looking forward to that this year. So I've wrapped them for the next 6 weeks, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll keep them out. I don't know if people know the difference between determinate and indeterminate tomatoes, but determinate means that you will get your tomatoes once. So on this side, I am keeping my determinate tomatoes because I will not pinch any suckers or anything. It allows them to get as full as possible for that one-time production of tomatoes. and they've all doing wonderful. For example, here is one plant of something called a pink tie tomato. They're disease resistant. They fall over, no big deal. And they are very prolific, and I will always grow them.
So how many tomato plants do you have in this garden bed? It looks like very, very full.
Well, it's actually probably about 12. I do square foot gardening, so every foot I have a plant, whether it be a tomato or herbs or a different type of vegetable. But I do companion planting, which I find beneficial for bugs as well as the benefit of the plants that you're planting. With the exception of the calendulas, because they're just basically masses of flowers. And these are the beneficial medicinal flowers that I use to make salves that are benefit to your skin and whatnot. Square foot gardening is basically, if you see, I have strings here from last year. What you'll do is you'll divide it into, this is a 5x5, you'll divide it into 12-inch sections, cross them over, and each section you can plant a plant. You can plant 6 beans, or you can plant 1 tomato plant. It's basically based on a grid and a chart that shows you how much per square foot. It helps you utilize your space, if you have limited space, so much better. Gotcha. It really does. Yeah, it's very helpful to new gardeners.
Does it mean it requires a lot of trimming? So that
No, because you'll want to, obviously you want to plant things that have a good airflow, like my tomatoes over there. Those are the only ones you're going to find that are not trimmed at the bottom. And it's because they're such a short lifespan. You know, they'll be ready in no time. But it also gives you an opportunity to mix and match your veggies, you know, and your herbs, and have them support each other as far as companion planting. This is just another type of calendula. This is Pacific Beauty. It's beautiful. You pick it. It's self-seeding. Every year it'll just be more and more flowers. They're amazing. My second favorite flower ever. And turn them upside to dry them, and put them in some oil, extra virgin olive oil, and let them steep for about 3 months. Let them stay in the oil for about 3 months, and then I'll add some additional oil and beeswax and turn it into salve, which is amazing for eczema. It's really good. My granddaughter's a bad issue with it, and it's been very beneficial. This is my compost pile. I do utilize cardboard. I will just tip for you. When you're using cardboard, it's best to use non-inked, and definitely remove the tape, because your tape has your petroleum products in it for the most part, and obviously not good, especially if you're an organic gardener. And then I'll just keep stacking that all year, and by next summer I'll be using it as black gold. Just to let you know, these are 10 to 15 foot sunflowers that I planted along the whole fence line, in hopes that soon they will be visible to the cars that go by, passerbys to enjoy. But sunflowers are awesome. This is some chia. I've got my medicinal herbs here. I've got stevia. I've got some Tulsi basil, holy basil, which is good for you. I've got some blue butterfly pea. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a flower that you can put in lemonade and it turns it pink. It's amazing.
It's interesting.
I've got some marshmallow and some other medicinals there. This has really not been planted yet. It's just planted with various types of basils, and I have probably 12 or 15 different types of basils.
What is this one?
That is purple ruffles. This is lettuce basil. The leaves will get roughly about the size of my hand. And this is my dill for me. This is what I would call my culinary dill patch. So if I find any caterpillars here or eggs or whatever, I will place them over there so that they have their own feeding station. One thing you'll notice in my yard is right here is garlic. I plant my garlic along any space I can, not to utilize a full bed. It's not necessary to put it in a bed. So I've lined this pathway all the way down with garlic, which is doing amazing. This is going to be my pollinator station. A lot of pollinator flowers, calendula, zinnias, bee balm, which I think is very important to have. Over here, this is a sweet bell pepper. This is the sweet pepper bed. This has about 40 peppers in it. And once again, going back to the square foot gardening, you can see now that when they get taller, they will be about like this, but I never ever had a problem. And again, I'm lining this bed, utilizing this space that's never used, with onions and garlic. In fact, here's an onion I can pull up and show you how well they do in the beds as a companion plant.
Oh my God.
That's one little onion, and I grow my everything from seed, like I mentioned. But what I'll do is I'll cure it, I'll hang it, let it dry, form a skin. These will be used, cut and used as green onions. Like I said, I line garlic along the whole beds and along the pathways. This is a garlic that is typically not ready because it's brown. It hasn't turned brown like those over there. That's my sign that it's ready. But I'll just pull it and show you what they're going to look like. And keep in mind, you don't have to buy garlic cloves to get garlic. I'm very frugal, and I make my money go as far as possible. I've been growing this garlic for 10 years, and I've always grown it from seed.
How long does it take from
That is
seeds to...
I will plant the seeds that grow on the end of the stakes. These will be seeds. I will take those seeds and plant them in the fall, and I'll have the garlic same time. So seeds, don't need the cloves. It's a beautiful garlic. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to, once you've pulled your garlic, you don't have to have any fancy setup to dry it, because technically your garlic and your onions should be cured. What I do is I basically will cut this part off, but for sake of time, sorry, this is how you can hang your garlic. And same with your onions. I will take the greens off to use them, and here we go. We're going to let that onion dry and be happy hanging out there. You can line it up once they've dried out some. Then you can put them in your storage, which would be your dark, cool place, so that they are ready for you all year long. And just to let you know, I've been doing my tomatoes several different ways this year. This is really, I was trying to get a single stem method, but they're topping over the posts, so I will probably just no longer pick suckers on it. But again, because I have 20-some tomato plants in this one 5x5 bed, I have cleared out the bottom leaves for air circulation. And knock on wood, I have never had a diseased tomato issue. So I'm hoping that things continue to go well. Everything's coming in nicely. Tons of, this has just got a million little flowers.
How many tomato plants did you grow this year?
I have about 130 something.
How many peppers?
Peppers are about 110, I think, or 120, somewhere between 110 and 120, because I just planted another dozen.
And how many garlic and onions?
300. I started with 300 garlics.
Each?
Onions, I would say maybe 80, 100, but keep in mind, everything from seed, and I just let it grow. It's done amazing. So, yeah, garlic, I've given away quite a bit of garlic at this stage. I think you might have gotten some, but anyway. So, and then of course I do companion planting. For example, here's some borage, which is a beneficial plant as well, and it's wonderful for pollinators, and it's a great companion plant.
You keep going.
And one thing I did this year is, I haven't typically done this before, but I separated out my super hots, which are your Carolina Reapers, your scorpions, peppers from my sweet, from my paprikas, and my medium hots. So we'll see how that goes. It seems to be going very well so far. Peppers are not a problem. I start those in January, and have had great success last year. And forgive the weeds. It's been a rainy year. A couple beds have not been tended to. For example, this probably has some beets ready, and it's probably time to pull them out so that I can make room for other stuff. But they may not be huge, but they are wonderful anyway.
Donna, so how many hours per day do you have to spend in your garden? Because you have a huge garden and you harvested so much last year, and I'm sure you will be more this year. How did you get the time?
Well, to be honest with you, is sowing the seeds, starting them in the greenhouse. That's a lot of time consumption. and then bringing them out to plant whatever seedlings I have. I mean, I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of seedlings. But maintenance is really somewhat minimal. I come out in the morning, check everything. I'll come out, check bugs during the day, and the watering. And that's basically from here about all that I have to do until it's time to pull plants and do succession planting, which I like to do. It's important for me to do as well. But here's example beans. These, I believe.
Oh my gosh, they're huge.
Yep, these are beans here. There's many varieties, but if you ask me the variety, I have to say I don't know because they're so intertangled. But when I go in there and look, I'll find tons and tons of beans. That's just a couple, for example. And obviously I put my pole beans on the back, and then I'll have bush beans mixed in, which are very good adding nitrogen to your soil. This is just some kale and lettuce that's about time to pull out. I'm a big love spinach. I have several varieties of spinach. Again, some more beans growing. Lettuce that's bolted. I had some amazing baby romaine. It is the best ever if you would like a nice tight head of lettuce. And then some volunteer tomatoes. These are actually tomato plants that have either popped up somewhere, or when you're picking the suckers off your plants, if you want to have a couple more tomato plants, put them in water and they will develop roots and you'll just stick them right back in the ground. It's a cheap way to get extra plants and you have a jump on the growth. These are some carrots. I had peas here originally. These are actually what I made for trellises. They may not be that beautiful, but this was $1.75. The rest of the stuff I had. And to me, it's great if you want to be frugal and save money. They work perfectly. Got peppers, carrots coming up nicely. Carrots are, when you plant carrots, you have to protect them. I usually cover this with wood before the seeds come up, before we get some little sprouts, because the rain itself will just damage your seeds. And
are they ready to harvest?
They are not yet. Carrots are not ready yet.
How can you tell?
Because usually you see that, well, here's might be one, but you can see how small it is. This is actually a Parisian. They're supposed to be squatty and round, but it's not ready yet. It should be bigger than that. And there's tons of varieties. I've got red, black, white, all kinds.
And how many carrots did you plant?
A couple hundred. And when I thinned it, I actually took the carrots and planted them on the other side. I don't throw thinning carrots away. To me, it's another carrot you can grow somewhere else, which is what I do.
So you cannot consume that much food. Why did you grow so much?
I've been gardening for 40 years, and when I had to start eating organic, it made me realize that a lot of people don't have the access to organic at all. Number one, it's very expensive. Number two, you just don't find it in your food kitchens and whatnot. So I figured, why not? If I'm going to grow 10 tomato plants, why not grow 150? Which is what I did. Last year I grew 158 and 150 peppers.
To share with other
To share, yeah, because I really don't eat a lot. I do some canning, but I surely couldn't eat all that. So yeah, that's what I do it for. I enjoy the process of gardening, and it gives me that warm and fuzzy about giving back and paying it forward, which is the way I was raised. I think it's very important. I don't have to know who I'm giving it to. Just I know in myself that I've given, paid forward. This is something that is new to me this year. This is I'm growing tomatoes on a cord. Basically, it's called a single stem. It's the first time I've done it, and so far it looks okay. I will decide at the end of the year whether I do it again next year based on the production. But I removed these suckers and I removed the lower leaves. Obviously airflow as well as providing all the energy to go to one stem. And I must show you these tomatoes. They're absolutely adorable. I don't know if you can see them. If you come around this side, they are called Reese tomatoes. They're actually a cherry tomato where the tomatoes fuse together and become one big cluster.
Interesting. Does it taste different?
I have not tasted them yet. Here's another example. If you look, they are absolutely awesome. see that how that whole cluster
Oh my
of
God,
cherry.
Yeah.
It's very weird, and you can actually break off each little cherry tomato and eat it, or slice it whole. It's pretty cool. But I have in here, I have black, red, yellow, green, every color of tomato you can imagine. Of course, all heirlooms too. And borage, my friendly borage. This bed of tomatoes is actually first seed swap that I do annually. I've designated certain plants here, but I will say one thing: I do open pollinate my tomatoes. Whatever becomes of an actual plant that I planted, an heirloom. However, I haven't had any problems in the past, so I will continue to do that.
What is the seed swap event?
I have a seed swap that I hold on Instagram every year, and basically it's about 100 plus people that will submit a pack of seeds, not a packet, but save seeds and make their own little packages and send them to me. So they have one for each person. So in turn, I sort them out and send back everybody something from everyone. Usually I put in about 30 or 40 different seeds myself. And so you end up with 150 plus seeds of usually heirlooms and unique varieties and all kinds that you couldn't go buy at $3 a pack. It gives you variety and options. And I'm going to show you real quick. This is just a trellis I made. Repurposed wood. Actually, I took a 2 by 8 foot piece of wood and cut it down on a table saw and made some stakes and then had some cages. And I have sunflowers on the back so that the beans can crawl up, climb up the sunflowers.
Did you do everything on your own?
I did. Other than my son helped me with this because I was too short to get the middle. But for the most part, I did everything, cut down everything. This is also from big pieces of wood that I cut down on a table saw. So I do have a lot of beans over here. Let's see if we have anything, because we have Swiss chard, which I don't know if you've ever grown it. It's the most beautiful. I mean, it's wonderful. I use it for cabbage rolls instead of cabbage, but it just keeps replenishing. You pick and it just grows new, and it's wonderful. It's a nice green to have. These plants, beans, I have several different varieties. These are Scarlet runner beans. They're beautiful, always full of red flowers. Of course, I can't reach any beans. And then over here I have dragon's tongue beans, which are my favorite flavor-wise. There's just tons of them right here. And I'm a big soup and stew person, so they will go right in that pot. Mixing in some cucumbers and then some bolted lettuce.
Oh, wow.
And here's some shallots that grew back from last year. I haven't done anything with, but these are shallots. They will grow back every year. Nice to have. There's some more dragon's tongue and miscellaneous beans. But you can come out here every day and pick. Unfortunately, I did pick a lot yesterday, but every day it'll be changing. Something unique. This is a spinach. It's called Malabar spinach. It's really pretty cool. Very, very tasty. But it's a vining spinach. And you see it does much better in the warmer months. So this is also a spinach. But at the same time, I will use my chives. Let's say if I want to pick some cilantro and give it to someone, I will pick it. We'll just do that for now. And I actually take the chive and wrap it when I'm out here into a bundle so it doesn't get lost in a pile with, let's say, parsley that looks just like it. And that'll be what I'll give to someone. Every herb will be tied up with a piece of chive.
Oh, this is a good
kind of keep it together. So it looks better. It looks pretty. Now behind you is my blackberries. Something, I've had this blackberry bush for a while, but it is one bush. It was one bush, and it right now probably has hundreds and hundreds of blackberries. If you look down here, every day you can come out. I mean, these are as big as my thumb.
Oh,
They're
wow.
just amazing. I don't usually have problems with them. Every day
Oh my gosh, they are huge.
Yeah, I can't remember how many pounds I got last year, but it was quite a few. And every day, I picked them yesterday, so these are all new today. I don't normally have problems with any of birds or whatever, but these will go into fresh berries for some people that have asked for them, as well as blackberry jam. See this blackberry jam?
Can I try one?
Absolutely. Isn't that good? Yeah.
Wow.
I can't beat it. And the other thing is, you know, this is all organic food. All organic. I come out here, labor of love. Absolutely. Look up here, there's just hundreds of them. I mean, they just love this spot. And I think it's because it's mainly sun, but also a little shade. I think they get a lot of relief from the shade. And then I'll have these blackberry shoots that come up in various places, and I'll pull those and give those away as plants. That's a new blackberry plant for someone. Some things in there that I think are important. I mean, this is just a little bit of what I typically would do. This is really 1/10 of a daily harvest, easy. But just for sake of time, I kind of just showed you a couple things. Obviously, I have a lot of beds out there, and I utilize my backyard. I've used a lot of it. But I think it's important to understand that no matter where you are, you can garden. You can utilize containers, you can utilize tubs, totes, pots, plants. Whatever you can grow in your yard, most likely you can grow in a container. It just will require you to keep an eye on it and watering occasionally more so than in the ground, because it will dry out quicker. But for example, here's a tomato. This is a deep pot because tomatoes have deep roots, require deep roots. This will produce easily 25, 30 tomatoes. There's cherry tomatoes, they're medium sized, so, but there you go. It's a nice green pot. No worries about it other than just giving it water. Same with flowers. You want to include some flowers, some pollinator flowers, when you're growing your vegetables on your patio deck or your apartment balcony, because that's going to bring your pollinators to you, so they can in turn pollinate your vegetables. Without the bees and the butterflies and etc., we wouldn't have vegetables. But utilize whatever you want. You want to go with color, you want to go with shape, whatever works for you. Can be a tomato plant, can be some beans, whatever works.
Donna, thanks for the wonderful garden tour. I really enjoy it. So you have so many plants out here, and how much do you spend each year to be able to grow so many? Because if I go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, one tomato seedling is like $2.50 or $3. That costs quite a lot, and I guess that is one of the reasons why people think, oh, it's too expensive to do gardening. Why don't I just spend $3, $5 to grocery stores to buy my tomato?
Right, well, a couple things. Number one, you don't have to spend a lot, and I'm talking very little to have a garden. You just have to utilize the resources you have.
How much did you spend?
Maybe $50 in my garden this year, maybe, if that. Yeah, very little, probably less than that, but I'll go a little higher. And my thing is that I will grow everything from seed. Number one, that's your savings. You can swap seeds with friends. You know, if you know another gardener, share what they have, and you share with them what you have.
And I will put some seed exchange or seed swap events information in the description below. And
yes. And another thing is I have built my beds, because to me that's easier gardening for me. All of the wood that you see out there, and there's 30 beds, 30 minimum 5x5 beds, all of the wood is repurposed and reclaimed. For example, we have a lot of new homes coming up here in LA. It's always building. I will go to a home site and ask them if I could have some of the wood in their front yard, because they tend to throw the wood that they miscut, even though they're 10-foot sections, great wood, brand new wood, they throw it out there for cleanup. I'll go out there and get the wood I need, cut it down, build myself a bed, and it costs me $0. Just a little time and effort.
I never thought about that.
Absolutely. And another thing is, if you get these long boards and you've got something that you want to build a trellis with, get them cut down on a table saw. You've just turned one board, one long construction board, into 10 stakes. You don't even have to buy those.
Okay. how about soil compost? They are expensive. In one garden bed, when I first started my garden, I thought, okay, 10 bags of soil should be enough, right? But after dumping 10 bags, it looks like nothing.
Right, and I don't use soil, so to speak. What I basically do is I've got a huge compost. Everything I compost, everything from the earth, remember that, from the earth to the earth. If it came from the earth, it goes in your compost. But I use that, that'll be a whole topping of beds next year by the time I'm finished putting scraps, kitchen scraps, cardboard, etc. And the other thing is, look at your local city, because a lot of times they have mulches and compost for free. You just come and pick it up. And the third thing is there's a company called Chip Drop. I got a lot of my cedar chip for free. I just had to move it from my front yard to my back. It's always about using the big F word, which is free. That's my favorite word.
That is so awesome. Well, I should start doing that to save me some money.
Absolutely, and if you need any tips, you let me know, because
Okay.
I probably got them all.
Okay, and all the information that we talk about in this video, I will put those in the description below, so make sure you check it out. So thank you so much, Donna. Thanks
you.
for having me and harvesting some fruit with you. That is so fun.
Yes, thank you. I wish there was more to pick today, but honestly, if you came back tomorrow, the next day, I'd have a full basket full.
Wow,
Thank you so
that
much.
is
I
so
appreciate your
awesome.
time and your interest, and you doing a video to educate people about the importance of growing your own food, organic or not.
I want to get more people to try to do a little bit gardening, especially the younger generation. I think this is so great and good for the environment and
Absolutely.
so healthy. And I'm not kidding, the fruit that you pick from your garden, it tastes way better than the grocery stores. If you don't trust me, go try it. Okay, so thank you so much, and I will
Thank
see
you.
you. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.